look at you back on Night Sounds. Welcome to Night Sounds. You're listening live across the entire Night Sounds radio network, including Kama Radio, K Tahoe in South Lake Tahoe, The Rock Community Radio, KEBF Morro Bay, KZSR Paso Robles, and streaming on social media everywhere. Find us at Night Sounds Radio. Our guests on the program tonight, signing in from Chatsworth, California, the owner of We Can Be Heroes comic books store in Chatsworth, your premier destination for all things awesome. He's the always awesome Julio Galvez is on the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And coming to you from San Bernardino, California, actor, podcast host, and friendly neighborhood Spider-Man cosplayer, the evil Deadite-loving Kristopher Hamilton is here. Hey, Kris.
Where am I? Oh, hello.
Hey, you're right there, dude. You're right there.
And finally, locked away in his closet in Sherman Oaks, the Alfred to my Batman, the Jarvis to my Iron Man. He's everyone's favorite kryptonite. Here he is, Joe. There he is.
Hey, kryptonite. I don't want to be kryptonite. That sounds mean.
This is Night Sounds. Tonight's topic, comic books, movies. Is it the end for DC and Marvel in Hollywood? Well, it may be. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being on this program. Let's get into the first story of the night, and it is all about the Marvels. The Marvels finishes as the lowest grossing MCU film ever in the domestic box office with only $205 million there.
No, that was global box office.
Yeah, the movie, The Marvels, finished in its theatrical run with a worldwide box office gross of only $205 million, putting it on par with DC's Birds of Prey, which was considered a bomb, even though it had a way smaller budget than The Marvels. So outside of last Guardians of the Galaxy movie, we saw a bunch of less than stellar box office performances from both of them, DC and Marvel, this year, to a point where you had shakeups at both of these companies. So here's my question for the panel. No, sounding like I know what I'm talking about. Were these bad movies, or was it something else?
I didn't even watch them. I stayed away from them. I stayed away. The only thing I saw was Guardians. I think that they're just the writing isn't there, the storytelling isn't there, and they can make a million of these things. If they were written properly and you made enjoyable characters, people would go.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I think it's the same thing. I just think after the main sequence for Marvel wrapped up with Endgame, and we lost Iron Man and Captain America. Chris Evans' Captain America basically became an old man and retired. I didn't feel a real sense of connection with any of these other characters. There wasn't ever a sense that, like, in the beginning Marvel movies, there was that sense of, like, are they actually going to make it through? Are they going to survive? And I've never, ever felt with Captain Marvel or Ant-Man or any of these new characters that they were actually ever in danger of death, I guess. So the stakes were never high enough for me for these new movies. I just didn't connect with it.
I personally just didn't care for them.
I'm with you, Julio, because I didn't even watch it. I think you guys are talking about stuff on the CW. What's the difference?
If it was stuff on
those CW shows.
Man, those CW shows were great. Those DC CW shows, I loved the Arrowverse. That was awesome stuff.
Yeah, what do you think,
Chris?
What
about Chris? Like, Chris, have you seen any of these new DC or Marvel movies? Like, where are you landing on the DC Marvel fandom? Are you there at all?
I'm there somewhat, and I guess I'm going to be the odd man out here because I did see the Marvels.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, I actually really, really enjoyed it too. I think in terms of the Marvels, that particular movie, I think the lack of the financial success has less to do with the movie itself having good or bad quality, because like, in my personal opinion, that particular movie you can't fully judge on if you haven't actually seen it, in my personal opinion.
All right. That makes
As someone who has seen it, now I don't like every single Marvel movie or entity from any media form that comes out. Marvel is my favorite company, but I wouldn't consider myself a fanboy, if that makes sense.
okay.
You know, I like what I like and I dislike what I dislike, which my friends on Facebook don't understand that yet. But anyways,
You can
I
be
think-
a critic, right? It sounds like you're a genuine viewer of this said material, and you
Yeah.
have an opinion on it.
yeah,
And you don't like everything because they're in costumes,
Exactly.
zipping around the sky.
exactly.
They have
Like,
to have some more there.
exactly. And like a perfect example I'll give you, and not to, steer off course here, but you guys mentioned DC. I hated Aquaman 1.
Okay.
Hated it. I actually liked Aquaman 2, and I
Oh.
totally went in Aquaman 2 like this. Like, I'm not excited to see this. This is gonna suck. Oh my god. And then at the end of it, I was like, I need to take a shower. I actually enjoyed that. What? And I hated the first one. But anyways, back to,
what was the difference then? Better writing, better storyline, better acting? Like what's set
I
the two
don't
apart?
know. And like, we'll get back to the Marvel specifically in a second, but with Aquaman, I think with the first movie, to me, it felt like a ripoff of like Tron Legacy. So Tron 2
Okay.
underwater.
Oh,
I mean, the primary color was blue. Like, it was a dark space with the only illumination being the color blue. And you had the male lead character being essentially part of two worlds. He had a parent that was, from another world, and he goes and visits that world, and he's estranged from this parent. And this parent we find out, is trapped in that world. They meet someone who has relation to that parent and have to fight them in a gladiator style arena. The main female character comes up and saves them from that fight. They go on an adventure throughout, this other world, find the parent that's been separated all this time and try to bring them on this adventure. And they have to defeat, the main villain is the person they have to defeat that they fought in the gladiator style arena. I was like, this is Tron Legacy underwater. I was like, that's all
it
this
really is. Yeah, it sounds like it.
And I'm the type of person where I hate the trend in filmmaking, like, because it can go either way. It can work out well, it can work out not so well, where you have a movie series that's a franchise, and the first entry is more serious. And then the next entry or entries later on get kind of cheesy and comedic, and it throws me off, because I'm like, why is the tone taking such a sharp turn? Now, if it's a gradual thing,
can we talk about Evil Dead 3 then?
I knew that's where this was going.
I was thinking Evil Dead too.
We gotta eventually segue back to the Marvels, because I got some thoughts on that in Marvel movies and whatnot. But to answer your question, and I knew you're gonna suck me into this.
I knew you were too, Joe. I knew it too.
Oh, has Joe talked about me and my feelings about?
No, I just wanted to feel included in this.
Oh. So anyone that knows me well enough that my top 3 favorite things are Spider-Man, Tron, and Evil Dead. And in terms of Evil Dead specifically, Army of Darkness is my least favorite entry. You look at Joe giggling like the little troll he is right now.
Oh man, I love it.
Army of Darkness is my least favorite entry in the Evil Dead franchise, and I've received death threats over this actually from people.
What?
Yeah,
Death
absolutely.
threats? It's like my favorite one. I know, but it's like death threats over a movie, over a franchise.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like some toxic fanboy stuff right there.
Yeah, I remember there was I went to a drive-in, my first ever drive-in experience, where Bruce Campbell was there, and they were showing Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I wanted to see Evil Dead 1. My friends outvoted me, especially since one of them was driving. They wanted to do the other day, which was Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So I was like, okay. And they asked me the same question on the multi-hour drive there. They're like, why do you hate Army of Darkness? I was like, here we go. But when I was recording the panel portion of Bruce talking about the films, he said that him being at a drive-in was kind of like when they were doing research for when they made the original Evil Dead, because they went to the drive-ins to see how audiences reacted to the movies. And they said if they didn't like a part in the movie, if it was boring, they would flash their lights and honk their horns. And he's like, so I guess I'll see what moments tonight you guys will be doing that. And I shouted all of Army of Darkness. And when I uploaded that video, so many comments. I'll send you guys a link, so you'll see so many comments are like, "Who the fuck said all?" Sorry, I don't know if I can use the F bomb. Who the F said Army of Darkness? Blah 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 blah. And someone was like, "Whoever said that should die." This, that, and the other. And I was like,
"Oh wow!"
So yeah, Army of Darkness fanboys are very, very passionate bunch. And
but the Marvel fanboys, I think, are part of the reason that the Marvels didn't do well. You know, they here's the bad thing about comic fanboys is they tend to be really misogynistic
and toxic. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because literally, and see now we don't have to worry about me explaining my Army of Darkness situation, because you brought it back. We can get into that later. But to bring it back to the Marvels, it's funny you say that. Like, sorry to keep having so many stories. No. I remember when the first Captain Marvel movie came out, and I was still living in the suburbs of Chicago, and I was working at Cinemark. And I don't know why we got this, but for whatever reason, our location out of all locations had these Lego statuettes that were on the red carpet for Marvel movies, and even had signatures on them and whatnot. And like one was of Iron Man's head, and like Scarlett Johansson signed it and put a mustache where a mustache would be for whatever reason. But next to that, we had a life-size Lego statue of Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. And I remember I'm working at the front door, you know, tearing the tickets and greeting guests as they came in, and two stereotypical looking type of sleazy nerds that you see hanging out in their mother's basement and don't wear deodorant and make it a coughing biohazard at comic conventions. Two of them come walking in, and one of them goes, "Ugh, what a waste of perfectly good Legos." And I couldn't stop myself. I interjected and I was like, "Actually, sir, it's not." It's like, "Well, it could have been used on a better character." And I'm like, "Captain Marvel is actually a pretty good character." "Well, I just don't like Brie Larson." I'm like, "Brie Larson's an Academy Award winning actress." And he's like, "Well, I'm just not having a good day." Like, he kept coming up with different excuses for his comment and whatnot, because, you know, people subscribe to the fact that this brain rot thought that Brie Larson is a terrible human being, simply because at some sort of junket, and this is exactly what happened. She was being interviewed, and she made comments about how she feels that there needs to be more diversity at press junkets and, you know, the official movie critic circuits and whatnot. And she said she doesn't need an older white male to explain to her why a movie like A Wrinkle in Time didn't work for her. And as a black guy, I was like, you know what? I don't disagree. Like, A Wrinkle in Time didn't work for me, but I'm not the audience. You know, younger girls are. And more to the point, younger black girls are the audience that were targeted for A Wrinkle in Time. So I'm like, she's not wrong. And, you know, she said some other stuff, and people took it as, Brie Larson is racist against white men. I'm like, where did she even say that? Like, where are you getting that? And so, like, some dudes, like, that was the narrative, and they took it and they sprinted with it like it was a marathon. And so all the dudes on social media hate Brie Larson because of that. And, like, a lot of them don't even know why. They're just jumping on the bandwagon of hate because they want to feel included in something in terms of the conversations about pop culture. And they're like, I don't want to be caught on the wrong end. So everyone's saying they hate Brie Larson, so I hate Brie Larson too. So dumb. And it's so stupid. I don't understand. Like, I know why it happened, but it's so stupid to me.
Well, as a middle class white male, I just want to state that there's no such thing as racism against white people. Okay, that's like one of the stupidest arguments I've ever heard. We control everything, people. There can't be. It's so okay. Anyway, it's so dumb. Let's move on. The Marvels did bad. Hopefully, they can figure all that out in the future.
And again, I think that's why it did bad. Yeah, I think it's the misogynistic people, and then just poor marketing. The movie was not
that's
marketed well at all. Like compared to other Marvel movies, if you look, like if you search up a Marvel movie and you search up anything related to marketing, trailers, posters, ads, promos, whatever, the Marvels did not get really any marketing whatsoever. They had a couple trailers and they had a few posters, and that was it. There was barely even any toys, any action figures or shirts or anything. Every other Marvel movie,
well,
you can't trip over your own 2 feet without seeing merchandise for it and whatnot.
I think that it comes down to like 3 things, and you just mentioned all of them. It was a bad fan base, not being open to diversity. They didn't market at all compared to other Marvel movies. I didn't see a whole lot of marketing. But the big things that killed it, the strike. They couldn't actually go out and promote their own movie because of the strike.
That was the other thing.
So I think it was a perfect storm of a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you said the movie is good, so you know what? I'll check it out. I'll check it out, and I'll let you know.
I actually enjoyed it, and it's like, to quickly touch on something that I know is gonna tie into are the Marvel movies done and whatnot. Is, a lot of people complain, oh, I don't want to have to watch all these other movies and these TV shows to catch up and watch this one movie. And it's like, it's not meant for general audiences to do that. That's for like the hardcore nerds and whatnot, because they catch you up to speed. Like I took my girlfriend to see the Marvels, and she is not caught up on anything. The only MCU movie she's seen is some of the earlier Iron Man movies, one of the earlier Thor movies, all the Spider-Man movies, Thor 3, the second Doctor Strange, and then...
So a handful. So like a handful, and so she was able to follow along.
Yeah, but she's not caught up at all with like anything, but she was able to piece things together really well and whatnot, and especially since they give you a little bit of explanation. So it's like, it's only for... the people that want to consume everything that have to consume everything. If you're a general audience member. But I will say, for the Marvel specifically, having seen WandaVision and Miss Marvel, it does make it that much more enjoyable.
Gotcha.
To be caught up with
some
that.
Of the backstory. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I wish I had anything to say, but I'm just enjoying the critique. What about you, Julio? Do you have anything to put into this ply?
I don't know. A lot of people talk about how like there's just way too many movies and there's like fatigue. I don't really think that's the case. I think people like good movies and will go see good movies if they're decent. I don't know what it is. I think the people that are in charge probably should get some new ones. I think that they might have fatigue. They might have some fatigue. And I think there's other people that have different visions that should be allowed to put them out there. And and a lot of discussion, this discussion happens on a daily basis here. And it's all kinds of people, of all ethnicities and race and stuff. And they're a little too woke now. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I get it. It's a female character. Yeah, we're now allowed to have a male director direct that movie or write it. It has to be, it's not the best person that gets to make the movie. And I think that a lot of the studios are going in that direction. Oh, we're going to get this person to do it because they're an activist. And plus, sometimes some time ago, they wrote something or made a movie. I think the activist part gets put on top of actually, I'm a good filmmaker and I'm going to make the best movie I'm going to make. I think we're checking too many boxes, And I think at first it was simple. We were trying to get this movie made. And who made it? Who was the first Iron Man was directed by
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Who was Favreau at that time? Other than the weird guy from Swingers.
Hey, what are you talking about? He's the dude from Elf.
Right. He's an actor. I
believe he's directed some stuff too before he did Iron Man.
No, but I'm saying, why didn't we go to Spielberg? Why didn't we go to all these big guys? They took a chance on Favreau. And he ran with it, and look where he is now. I think that more people there's a lot of talented people out there that, should be chosen for these movies.
And not just because of DEI, but just because they're like the best person. I understand that we need to bring in more voices.
Sure.
But I get it that it's for a lot of people, it's too much too soon, and it degrades the quality of the entertainment that they're trying to watch.
Right. That's where I stand on that. Right? I mean, every time it comes down to it, I really want to just see a good movie. As a father of two, I never get to go to the theater. I watched everything at home, and it kind of sucks because everybody spoils everything. But I mean, we've made some efforts. We've made some efforts to go to the movies, and none of the Marvel movies, except for Guardians, was something I really wanted to watch. And when I was watching Guardians, the tone of that movie was completely different than the other two. And I think that has a lot to do with where James Gunn was with Marvel and Disney.
Right.
And now that he's going to DC, I really think that I have a lot of faith in James Gunn. I really do. I've loved everything that he's done. Like the Suicide Squad movie, my wife hated it, but I'm sitting there in the theater going, "This is genius. This is so much fun."
I'm just happy that they're going to get rid of the Murderverse, because I'm not a big fan of Zack Snyder and his view of how they just like to kill people. These superheroes just murder people.
When did the superheroes ever kill anybody? And